Tactical masterclass against Barcelona for Enzo Maresca's Chelsea. In today's video, we're going to be speaking about the suffocating press, Estevao's rest attack role, and those runs in beyond the Barcelona high line. Let's start with the tactical decisions because, my word, there was some absolutely brilliant ones in this game from Enzo Maresca. One of them being Pedro Neto starting from the middle. The others being basically the configuration of this right-hand side of the pitch, which you can pretty much put down to any of these guys here. And that's not to say, there's so many aspects to this game. The role of Cucurella was key. Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez were both brilliant as well. Chalobah, Fofana, Garnacho, you could literally go through the entire team. But in terms of tactical decisions, the decision to play Pedro Neto through the middle to exploit that high line of Barcelona, but also to initiate and have those players in the press that were so well drilled, ready to sort of jump and be intense in that first line of pressure, and then back that up from the midfield line to the defensive line. To begin with, I want to touch on the out of possession, because I think that was where this game was truly won. The intensity in that first half, the way that Chelsea suffocated Barcelona. And it was this that allowed Chelsea to win the game, essentially, to put that pressure on and control the game. What we saw was Pedro Neto starting as that striker. He was more or less looking to lock off, play on Araujo, and make sure that Kabasi was the one getting the ball. So they were shifting the ball to this side of the pitch. He was trying to lock it off so that we could make things happen on this side of the pitch, on this right-hand side. Now, on that right-hand side, that is where we saw this sort of series of jumps. Once that ball was locked off into here, Estevao jumping onto Kabasi, Gusto jumping on all the way to Balde, Fofana drifting over to Torres, and then what you had is Chalobah ready to sort of man-mark Lewandowski. And in this phase of play, once these jumps have occurred, Chelsea are man-to-man all over the pitch. You've got Cucurella with Yamal, Caicedo with Fermin Lopez. You've got the double pivot locked on against the double pivot of Barcelona. And having that man-to-man aspect all over the pitch allowed Chelsea to control the game, have that intensity, and really sort of take the game to Barcelona. And they were unable to get out every time that the ball was going long. Once we sort of initiated this phase of pressure, Chelsea were able to sweep up, win their duels with Fofana and Chalobah. They were winning those duels. Caicedo was excellent, sort of cutting out everything in the middle of the park. Again, Reece and Fernandez, very good in there. Cucurella had an absolute lockdown job on Yamal. And then the pressure at the top end of the pitch with Gusto sort of applying enough pressure to Balde to force those turnovers was, of course, key. So all of these things in tandem allowed Chelsea to sort of take control, and we deserved to go 1-0 up, even though the goal came from this moment, and we'll sort of touch on this now, because this moment is something that Chelsea have been doing all season, where they tried to create this 3v2 in wide areas from a short corner. They were able to do that. Garnacho is able to find Cucurella. It was a very, very close to being offside, but Cucurella receives, able to get a ball across the box, put it in the danger area, and then the rest is done from there. Pedro Neto gets the flick, and from there, Barcelona are unable to clear their lines, and it goes down as a Ferran Torres' own goal, which is ironic because he was the one that also missed the chance to put them 1-0 up from probably the only real big error of the game, coming early on in build-up where Reece James lost the ball and gave Barcelona that chance to go 1-0 up. But from there, Chelsea really took over this game, and this was what allowed Chelsea to get that first goal. Now, another aspect that was so good about this pressing plan, and we spoke about this when we did the preview, and how Estevao will be somewhat protected in this out of possession role because of the importance of these two. I keep doing that. The importance of these two here, but also Reece James playing in that midfield alongside Enzo Fernandez. What this does is it protects Estevao and gives him less of an out of possession role. He's having to make that jump onto Kabasi, but then he's not got as much sort of out of possession responsibility to track back and cover Balde, because these players are going man for man all over the pitch and stopping them from getting into those moments of settled possession. Therefore, Estevao was almost playing this rest attack role, somewhat like we speak about Mo Salah, where once the ball breaks in here, if Chelsea are able to win this duel, Estevao is the one that is between the lines and can receive it, get on the ball, and he can be the one that can create facing forward, orchestrate the attacks. And we saw it for his goal, where I think it was Andre Santos and Reece James. Between them, they regain possession. Estevao sort of keeps the ball and allows them to from there, get up the pitch. Estevao then peels off, gets the ball, and he's able to create that lovely bit of magic for his goal, which was unbelievable. And I think that was really clever from Maresca as well, to protect him out of possession, but to also have him as the guy that's making those decisive actions. You think in the first half where he released Pedro Neto behind, he won the ball. They re-won the ball. Estevao gets on the ball, and Neto makes a good run in between the sort of Barcelona defenders, and we nearly catch out their high line from there. So that was another key aspect of Estevao in that rest attack position. Now, the other thing to speak about with Cucurella, and we spoke about it with his defensive job on Lamine Yamal, which was absolutely superb. Didn't give him a sniff. He spoke about it during the game, how he wanted to show Yamal inside because he knows that that's where the likes of Caicedo and Chalobah are there to help him. And if he's going to do something really special on the outside, then he's going to clap him, essentially. He's going to let him sort of give him the weakest part of his game. And if he manages to do something, then you just hold your hands up and you say that that's extremely special. And that's exactly how you sort of lock off these really, really elite players. But yet, Cucurella, his intensity to do this against the world's best shouldn't go unnoticed, because even though he has a few flaws in how he's 1v1 defends, his aggression, his tenacity, the personality of which he does it with, and just that, like I say, that extra bit of tenacity, he doesn't give up even if he doesn't win that first ball, and he's always just hassling the defender to the point where they're a little bit sort of hesitant with their actions as well. And it's just, it's becoming sort of a thing where, I hate to say the word aura, but it's becoming a thing where players know that that's what Cucurella is going to give them in a game. He's going to give them that challenge. And it can strike a little bit of fear into them. And I think that that's a huge part of Cucurella's 1v1 game defensively. But also, we speak about it for this red card because, look, in this scenario, you've got Caicedo and Reece. They're both... Oh, didn't mean to do that. You've got both of them on this side of the pitch. So this allows Cucurella to be released forward to make a run in behind this high line because, look, it's not that high at this point, but the momentum is shifting where Garnacho is going to get the ball. Cucurella is going to look to make that run in behind because you've got Enzo here as well, a bit deeper. And this is where the red card comes from because he ends up here, gets the touch, and Araujo's had to come over and cover, and that's ended up getting him sent off. So again, another key moment in the game, not even defensively this time, but also going forward. And it's not rigid, even though he was, if we go to this sort of in possession factor now, I'll quickly change it to here. He's able to make those runs for... That's not the right one. We go to that. He was able to make those runs forward as well, as long as these players were here to sort of make sure that Yamal was locked off if that ball was turned over. So that was a brilliant aspect as well from Cucurella. We saw a few of those runs to offer support in behind that line, even from this sort of fixed left centre-back position. And this is basically how Chelsea set up against that high line. And again, the ability of Gusto to run in behind, having all four of these players willing to make that run in behind this high line. Fernandes willing to drag Garcia over here. The deep sort of pivot to drag De Jong and Fermin Lopez away. And again, the wingers and the centre forward on that sort of back line, that back three. It opened it up for Chelsea to be able to play in behind that back line. And they did so to good effect. And I think the last thing we're going to touch on in this video, because we've touched on quite a few different tactical aspects from this game, and I wanted to keep it quite short and sweet for this first sort of tactical review. But we will go into a bit more detail in the coming days on the channel. This goal, you see it again here, even with 10 men, they're looking to sort of step up against that momentum and catch Chelsea offside with a high line. The Lap has run in behind, and he's actually offside from that run. He's gone offside, and he is therefore behind that high line in a position where now, once Enzo gets the ball, which he does, and he's, again, marginally onside, where he's looking across the line, and he's marginally onside. He gets the ball back, and he's able to play it across, and because of that Delap starting in that offside position here, the line is unable to get back and sort of get close enough to him to the point where it's just a tap in for Delap, makes it 3-0, game's already put to bed. But that's another big factor because you could see what it meant to Delap, and Enzo sort of, he knew it as well. You could see from their celebrations. That's a big goal for him to be getting in such a big occasion as well. And I think there's just so many good things to speak about when it comes to the intensity, the game plan, the togetherness in the performance, and the difference in all three goals, and different aspects in all three goals that are very, very exciting for their own different ways. Again, the set piece prowess, something we need more and more against these lower block teams. So good to see it again today. Obviously not against a low block. But again, the Estevao piece of brilliance, but again, that rest attack sort of aspect. And then we speak about this, where we're getting in behind that high line and Delap is getting the goal. All brilliant factors in this game. Please let me know anything you want to know from this game. Like I said, I'll cover some bits in more detail with lots more screenshots, but I wanted to get this one out as quick as possible to speak about, especially the out of possession sort of performance, because like I say, these right-sided jumps were exactly what I thought we'd do, and I thought we did it to perfection. So fair play, Chelsea. Big win, statement win. On to Arsenal next, but let's enjoy this one. Up the Chelsea. Please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.